In this video, I'm going to show you how to create or deploy an Airtable clone that can handle millions of records within a single table, a limitation that can be very annoying if you have over 50,000 records. And with this method here, you can do it without, or you can actually have more than 1,000,000 records inside your table or database. We're going to use Hetzner as the VPS. We're going to deploy Supabase as the Postgres database. And we're going to put NoCodeDB on top of it as a visual representation layer, visual database. So first of all, let's go into Hetzner, create an account, then go ahead and create a server. I'm going to take the cheapest option or second cheapest here with 8 gigabytes of RAM. Then my location, I don't really care at the moment. This is just for testing. Ubuntu server, correct. We're going to have an public IP. I'm going to deselect SSH key because then the key or the root password will be sent to my email. This is just easier for showing you how this is set up. Look into how to set it up with correct SSH keys if you're going to do that. I'm going to set up my firewall to open up the ports that I need. Then in the backup, if you're running this as a production, like something that is actually used for doing stuff, I would highly suggest adding backups. And labels groups, no. And then we're going to do Airtable -clone, like so. And then we're going to create and buy. This is going to take like 10 seconds to spin up. In the meantime, you can go ahead and go to Coolify.io, go to self-hosted, and take a look. This is the command that we're going to run once the server's up and running, and we got it where we need it to be. And then you can also open up your DNS service here. I use Cloudflare. Right now, this is an empty domain, visor.cc, ready to add DNS records, so we can point this domain over to our Coolify instance. Great. This is now up and running. I should have been given an email here. There we go. And now we're going to use the terminal. So open up terminal. You can go here and you can search for terminal. This will open up this terminal. On Windows, you can just right click anywhere and find the terminal, or you can press Windows key R and then type CMD. That should also open up the terminal. Inside the terminal, we're now going to log in to our server. So I'm just going to grab my IP address here. I'm going to go back to the terminal and we're going to say SSH space, then root, then do an @ sign, and then paste in our IP address, meaning that we're going to log in via tunneling to the user called root at this IP address. And we have to bind it, creating a fingerprint, and I'm going to type yes. Now we're going to paste in the password. Go over here, grab my password, paste that in, and you can't see passwords in the terminal. So you're just going to paste it in and click enter, and yeah, that's how it's going to be. And then we have to write a new password. Awesome. We're now logged in. I'm going to grab my installation here for Coolify, paste that in, click enter. Now this is going to install Coolify, and this is going to take a while, like 5 minutes-ish. I'm just going to pause the video and then we'll get back to it. I actually forgot, like in the meantime, we actually go over to our DNS here and set that up for our domain. So we're going to set up 2 A records. First A record is going to be a wildcard. We're going to point it at this IP address for our server. Paste that in, click save. Then we're going to add a new A record for our domain. I'm just going to paste that in here, take my domain. You can add the @ sign here for the root and do it this way. There we go. With these 2 records, this is a wildcard domain or wildcard forwarding, meaning that we get any or all subdomains below this domain will be forwarded to our Coolify instance, and it has some nice traffic things installed, meaning that it will automatically handle all our SSS certificates and all that jazz if you just set it up like this. Anyways, congratulations, we're now set up. From the terminal, you will copy this address here, open up here and click enter. Then we will set up our admin account, hands at scalebytech.com, password, password, and I hope I did everything correct. Yay. I'm just going to click skip onboarding because I'm that type of person. Then we're going to go into our servers, going to click localhost. Then we will go here for wildcard domain. We'll go HTTPS and then type in the domain that we added over here. So this wildcard domain here, meaning this one, we can paste it in as well. Like so, click save. And now it's going to say like, this is a permanent thing, this wildcard addition to the server. Do you want to do it? Yes, please. Awesome. Then we're going to go to settings and we're going to go to the general and under domain. And now we're going to set the domain for the Coolify installation. So we don't have to use the IP and this up here. So HTTPS and then visor.cc. We're just going to type Coolify, click save, and there we go. Then it's going to take like a minute or two or half an hour, depending on how fast the internet is working. But let's copy this. You should be able to now paste that in here, and then it should route you to the new Coolify installation. Awesome. We can now go ahead and close the IP one, and we're going to work from our domain now. So I'm going to type in my email, password. There we go. Log in. Awesome. We are now ready to deploy stuff. First of all, go to projects, add a project, call it Airtable clone or whatever you want to call it, really matter. Then we're going to add a resource and we're first going to deploy NoCodeDB. And here you can rename your service and you can rename here down here where it says services. Go in and click this yellow type thingy here. And then you can like here, it actually hasn't updated yet. Let's go to settings, servers. Closed. We forgot to save our wildcard. So https://.cc. Save. Yes, save. There we go. Projects. Table clone. Just gonna delete this one since we haven't installed anything yet. We're gonna do it one more time. Let me just see here. Add new clone here. I'm gonna add in production. Add resource. There we go. So rename the service whatever you want. And then down here, you can then rename that as any subdomain to your top level domain that you have. I'm just going to keep this as is. It's going to provide you with a random number every time for every deployment. I'm just going to say deploy on this. This should take like 10 seconds to deploy. And then it's going to say all services started once we have loaded everything. And created, started. Awesome. This is now starting up. We're going to go back to our projects, Airtable clone, click on new up here, and then type Supabase. We're going to open that up. Again, here you can change your service name. You can also change where you log into this by changing this URL here. I'm just going to say deploy. So if you were deploying this for a client or whatever it is, you could go ahead and pick some fancy subdomain names. That would make sense. So now this has been started up. We can now see that everything is green except the create bucket. It's always red. I don't know why. Anyways, let me just open up a new tab here. Now we will open up both instances. So you can go and click on link here. Click here. Now we have to add the username and password. For logging in, we have Supabase dashboard user. This one. Paste that in. The password is just below it. Copy that one. Paste that in. Click sign in, and I don't want to save that. Awesome. We're now logged into Supabase. Let's go to the table editor so we can see where we're going to add our tables here. Then we're going to go back to our projects, Airtable clone, and open up NoCoDB. Click and open that. Now we're going to set up the account here. So you will be super admin. Awesome. Hands at scalebytech.com. Whoops. And the password. Sign up, and we're not gonna save that, and we're just gonna skip. Again, if you are running this for production, you would need to go into your settings and in setup and configure email. Very important. Like so you can actually get emails and recover your accounts. The same goes for for Coolify. You'd go into settings and somewhere in here, notifications, set up your email settings so you can send emails from this, from the software, so you can recover your accounts. Very important. Anyways, this is now set up. I'm gonna delete this getting started base, delete that. Then we're gonna create a new base, which can call it Supabase, and you can call it again whatever you like. Then we're gonna create an external, connect to external data, Supabase, and selecting connection, we're gonna click on new connection, and we're gonna use Postgres. Just go back, Postgres or Gres SQL. Yeah, this one. Connection name Supabase. And then there are two options now for connecting to your Supabase installation. If you've done it, like I've done it, on a Hetzner VPS or a VPS, on the same VPS, you can connect it via internally, so you don't have to go through a public host address. I'm just going to show you, if you haven't installed this, or you have your Postgres SQL somewhere else, whatever it is, you can go into Supabase. Then you have to scroll all the way down where it says Supabase DB, click on settings. Then in here, you're going to type 5432, click save, and then click on this one, make it publicly available. From there, we can then go into our Supabase here, click on connect, copy this address here, and then use connection URL, paste that in. Then we take our IP address and exchange that this one, and then we're gonna take our Supabase Postgres SQL password here and replace this part of the string, and then you're gonna click import, and it will fill out these details within the scheme here. But this requires you to have this port open and publicly available for the IP address. It's kind of a security issue to have publicly available ports that isn't IP restricted and so forth, but there won't be anything happening probably, but I'm gonna do it in another way. So I'm gonna connect the two within the server itself. So how to do that is you go ahead and ask ChatGPT, how do I connect these two? And it will eventually give you a little script you can run. So I'm gonna go into my server. I'm gonna go into my terminal inside of Coolify. Paste that in. Gonna click enter. And then it's going to say, we have now connected the two services. And my host address now is right here. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go back here and paste the host address in here. The port number for 5432. Yep. Username Postgres. Password is, again, this Postgres SQL password. Paste that in. This is important here. The database has to be Postgres. And then the schema name is public. Awesome. Let's just check that SSL mode is turned off. Now we can test our connection. Gonna say, yay, test successful. And then we can create our connection. The next part is really important. You have to turn on allow schema changes. And it's gonna say, this is not recommended because you can change your database. And we want to change our database from within NoCodeDB. Else we can't create tables, we can't create new rows and change rows and so forth. So allow schema changes, yes please, and nothing in advance. Then we're gonna click add source, and that's it. We now have everything set up. So this is our Supabase database here. We can go ahead and click on a new table, create that one. If we go back here into Supabase, we just created our table. Here we can now go ahead and say do a long text, call it long text. We can add numbers and say this is number. Awesome. Then we can start to add records. This is string. So we can actually go ahead and say edit field, enable rich text update. We can open this up, and I think we can do like this. Headline 2 and so forth. Awesome. New record. Let's just say something here, something there, and some numbers here. And if we update our Supabase, we can now see that our records are coming in. Awesome. Now let's just do a quick test, because this is all fine and dandy, but then you're gonna like, why would we do this instead of just using Airtable or AI table or whatever other table visual database you have? And that is because of the performance. The performance of a Postgres or an SQL database and this on top far outweighs the performance what you get with Airtable. This isn't like if I change something on the backend here, this isn't instantly updated. So I can go and not up, let me just delete this and say not updated. Then on the front end, this is not updated like in real time. You have to go up and click reload before this comes in. That is the trade-off. Like when something is updated here in the database, it isn't updated automatically on this front end. But in my opinion, that's a small price to pay in terms of the performance updates that you are getting. So if we go here and say import data, and take it from a CSV file. I'll just take a few articles that I have, import them, and import. I can't remember exactly how many we have, a couple of hundred here. And that is fairly doable in Airtable. Lags a bit, but not that much. When you go to a few thousand articles, like we have 500 articles here. When we get to 1,000 articles, then we're going to see some performance degradation. So you can see that we have all this here, and we can take the article tab, for example, and go to long text and enable rich text update. So now we have our articles here formatted in Markdown with links and all that where it's supposed to. And you can see when I scroll down, just it loads super fast here. Like if you ever worked with large tables in Airtable, like this is just something else. But let's say we have 200,000 records now. And this is where you cannot do this in Airtable. It has a 50,000 record limit. So import CSV file, go ahead, and then we're going to import 200,000 keywords. These are just random words. They are not really keywords, but we're going to import. While this is importing, let's just go over here. You can see it's starting to import all these. And if you want to create a new table, or new, like over here, you have this database called Supabase. In fact, it should have been called public because it refers to this schema up here, which is called public. So you can go ahead and create a new schema and call this DB for database. Click save, and then in here you can then go ahead and create a new connection to that specific schema, and that would create this new database icon over here. Supabase. Oh, not in Super, in NoCodeDB. Let's just go over here and go to public. There we go. These are all the articles. We have 532. Now we have the keywords. We have 105,000 so far. Let's just update and see. Still only. Okay. Now we have 200,000. That's an estimate. Okay. So it's not showing the exact number here in Supabase, but it is showing the exact number here on NoCodeDB. So we have 200,000 records here. I'm just going to scroll down to, let's say, here. You can say like it loads instantly. And this is the beauty of a Postgres SQL. Like this is just super fast. Let's go up and say grouping. We're going to group by keyword. You can see we have 40,000 each of these 5 categories. We can go ahead and delete the group. We can go ahead and filter, add a filter where keyword is like it includes set, that is 80,000. We have set P, that is 40,000. So like this is just blazing fast. So this is how you set up a Airtable clone that can handle millions of records. And again, you could then go ahead, go to your Coolify instance here, go to projects, Airtable clone, and just say add a new resource and go to N8N, for example, add an N8N here and just deploy that. And now we can have automations running on the same server. The beautiful thing here is that we have a Supabase integration within N8N. So you could start and send, like let's just go here and say add a single selector, say status, say field. And then we're going to edit and we're going to say go, going, gone. So date fields, there we go. And over in details, we can now start to add webhook calls, meaning we can trigger automations. So we can add a new webhook, call this webhook 1. Then on all events, I'm not gonna do after insert. I'm just gonna do after update. Trigger only when conditions match. And then we're gonna say like when status is go, we're gonna send a post webhook to https n8n.io/webhook. We're gonna get that webhook from 8n, and that's more or less it. Let's just go over here and see if we have actually deployed 8n. We have. We're going almost a half an hour here, so let's just do it and like see if we can trigger a webhook over there. And at scalebytech.com and 1000. Next, Christ. There we go. Customize, I don't care. Something, and something. Just skip. Okay, create a workflow. Then we're gonna do a webhook. We're gonna set this one to post. We're gonna get our test. Click to copy. There we go. Go over here. Paste that in. Then we're going to listen for a test. Test webhook here. There we go. Save. And then, of course, you're going to double click on this one, go to production, and then we're going to paste in the production one, and then we're going to create the webhook. Then we're going to go back to data, going to close this off, turn it on. Got it. There we go. And then we can just start to click on these, go. Then in here, we can check our executions, and we can now see we're getting data from our system. And everything is self-hosted, and you can scale this as much as you want. Like I can say like this, we have 8 CPUs in this one. No, 4 CPUs, which means we have 400% of power, and we haven't gotten up to that limit yet, even when we imported the 200,000 records. So this can take a lot of abuse. Like you can scale this a lot. Yeah, hope you liked the video. I don't have anything else to show you, and you can go ahead and look at the API calls you can call call NoCodeDB directly via this API documentation. In N8N, you can start to do integrations directly into Supabase. So for example, we want to update a row, and we of course need to set up our credentials. And here your host is just over here. So Supabase, and this is my host. So my host, paste that in there and remove the 8,000 here. Service role secret, I'm just gonna show you. We have time. So go over to environment variables, click on developer view, scroll down, and then see if we can find this one called service role secret. So there should be something called service role. Here we go. Supabase service key. This one here. Copy that. Paste that in there. Click save. And there we go. Connection is now up and running. And we're going to update a row. Let's see if we can actually get this to fetch or do what it's supposed to do. Give me a second here. Okay, we're going to take the table name, it is the keyword one. Then we're going to add a condition where ID, where the ID integer equals to the ID from over here. And then we are going to update this with, let me see, we're going to do a status update, and we're going to update that with gone. Let me see if we execute that. Gone. Awesome. And that should, let me just click save, go over here and go to data. That is now gone. So what this does is just like every time we set it to go, it just sets it back to going or gone. Sorry. So that is saved. Yeah. So whenever we now set anything here to go and we refresh it, it's just going to be gone. And that's the automation on the backend doing this. So let me just see if this is something that would break most systems. Yeah. Because like selecting all this and then pasting will break. I actually think it's NoCodeDB that is breaking now, because the webhook here can't send all of that at once. So yeah. Let's just remove that. Delete. Go. We can do it like this, I think, and send. Yeah. So again, I don't think like when you do updates like this, you can't paste in multiple because it's only going to take the first one. So whenever you do like this, you have to do it in sequence like this. And then you can update all set to gone, and we can go here and check our executions. And yeah, so we added NNN on top of it for the fun. Hope you enjoyed this video and hope you learned something about self-hosting and no code and like all this jazz, making better systems that can handle more. So thanks for watching. See you in the next video.